Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to the Marketing That Grows Your Business show. Today, we're going to be talking about marketing dollars, advertising dollars specifically, and how you can leverage them just a little bit of dollars for massive results. So I've got a special guest today. She's going to share a story of one of her clients that has done amazing things with just a little bit of money. And we're going to just dissect it. We're just going to break it apart, find out how she did it, and what kind of results they got. So it's going to be super fun. Couple of quick things as you guys are coming in. I want to say morning. Good morning, Bridget. Wow, girl, it has been forever since I've seen you. I hope you're doing good. Just as you're coming in, just give me a shout out. Where in the world are you today, this morning, this afternoon, this evening, wherever you are? Hey, Chuck, good to see you. How's the weather up in Northern Virginia? It's beautiful here and muggy. I'm in Virginia as well, as you know, but it's a little muggy this morning. A couple of things. We do giveaways on every one of my Marketing That Grows Your Business shows. And this morning, we're going to be giving away a couple of things. One is a membership to my Business Builders Academy. They're the sponsor of today's show. So it's if you are looking to build a business the right way and you need training and resources, then the Business Builders Academy might be the amazing thing that you've been waiting for. So definitely check it out, businessbuildersacademy.net. And we're going to be giving away one of our winners today will be getting a 3-month access to the Business Builders Academy. So you can be looking out for that. And we're also going to be giving away a Screenshots Are Forever mug. Now that's a little snarky, but it's true, right? So 2 things today, two prizes. How do you win the prizes? I have what I call an aha moment to be entered into the wheel of wow. That's what I call the winning wheel there. So if you will just type in hashtag aha when you hear something that is like, I didn't know that, or that's amazing, or I knew that, but I needed to hear it again. Just type those into the area and down under, and we'll make sure that we get you entered into the wheel of wow. And we love the love around here. So if you know anyone that needs to learn about this, or you feel like this would be of interest to them, sprinkle it out into the world, share some love, tag somebody, whatever that might, if you think this is going to benefit someone else. We love new people, old people, all people of all kinds. We love them. So good morning, Paul. Always good to see you. Okay, so hey, Jenny. So glad you're here. Okay, so real quick, before I bring our special guest on today, I just wanted to remind everybody, don't forget the ahas. Share the love if you feel somebody can benefit from this, and show some love to our special sponsor today. All right, so let me share a little bit about our special guest today. I'm super excited about our guest. Oh, hang on. Let me pull that back up here. Click too many times. So Jessika is a social media strategist, and she's known for her outspoken dedication to relationship marketing. You know, last week we had a special guest on, and we talked about relationship marketing. Well, y'all, I don't know if you remember this, but guess what? Our special guest from last week is actually what actually works for Jessika at her agency. So her personal mission, though, is to inspire people to love more, give more, and be more through using authentic relationships every day. She sounds like my kind of gal, right? She is my kind of gal. I love her dearly. She's founded the Now Marketing Group in 2010 with only a laptop and a vision. And she is now a Forbes recognized agency partner and a certified inbound partner with HubSpot, and works with more than 100 clients across the United States and beyond, choosing to, again, serve, not sell. Definitely a gal after my own heart here. Teaches in a weekly video cast, Magnet Marketers, and hosts one of the largest social media Midwest conferences, Social Media Week Lima. I think it's Lima. I'll get her to tell me in a minute if I'm pronouncing that correctly. But y'all, put your hands together for my special friend, Jessika Phillips. Hey, Jessika, how are you, girl?
Oh my goodness. Thanks so much for having me on, Kim. It's so good to just see your face, like moving face, not just your avatar on social. And so many good friends in the chat. Chuck, good to see you in here. I see Tim, Sloan. I see so many beautiful people. Lisa, Monks. So you have a great community.
Yeah. Yes. So tell us a little bit about social media. Is it Lima or Lima? Lima?
It's Lima, like the bean, but
okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's okay. Everyone kind of gets along.
Okay, and you're getting ready to have the conference. So tell us a little bit about this, because to my knowledge, this is like the first social media conference post-COVID. So give us the scoop.
Yeah, so this is one of the first that's in-person live right now, Social Media Week Lime, and actually there's a couple of people in the chat that hopefully will be attending and actually speaking at the event, but it's hosted in Lima, Ohio, super small town, population like 30,000 people, but this is our 8th annual event. Each year we have a theme, and it's presented over 2 days. This year's theme is Unfiltered, how to build community in a dark social world, not the dark web, that's something completely different, but a dark social world. And we break down how to do that on day one and the principles behind it, and then get into the how-to nitty-gritties that you can apply it to your business on day 2. So lots of our friends that will be speaking there. More info at sociallima.com. But yeah, we try to bring a big city type conference to the small city for everyone that isn't up to traveling or spending those kind of dollars to go learn what's next and how they can apply it to their business.
I love that. So it's Lima, not Lima. Okay, got it. Lima bean. I can remember that, and I'll do it right the next time. So I'm just curious, before we jump into the story behind the $100 ad spend, can you share a little bit about how, I know you've been a social media strategist, you have an agency where you serve clients, but what was your backstory before that? Like, what did you do before you started the agency, and how does it apply to what you're doing today?
Oh, yeah. So I have an interesting story of building what I call the anti-corporate America brand, Now Marketing Group, which is the agency name that's in Lima, Ohio. And we just celebrated our 11th year in business. Yay. Super thankful for that. But my history, my background is actually in telecommunications. I've always been kind of a nerd for technology and also though psychology. I was going to school for psychology at the time, but my first big girl job was in telecommunications. I worked for Verizon Wireless at the time. Started out in customer service. You got to work your way up. But during the time I started in customer service, it was right around the time, first it was the Zach Morris phones, showing my age a little bit there. When I started at the company. And right around that time, though, we were quickly evolving in telecommunications to have the flip phones. And then now text and data and polyphonic ringtones were coming out. And even though I was in customer service, we were required to have sales, and we had sales numbers. And I realized that when people are coming to customer service, typically because their phone wasn't working or they had a problem with their bill and all those things, and realized very quickly that you can't sell someone something when they're upset with you, not feeling you. So I realized that I needed to be patient, ask a lot of questions, and I started doing that at the time, when data was coming out and text and photo messaging, all those things. People were like, I don't need my phone to do that. I just need it to make phone calls. Now it's kind of funny thinking back to that now, but I needed to be patient with them. I started asking a lot of questions and quickly was able to grow sales from there. And so I moved up from customer service to sales to store manager, then distribution partner, which was my dream job. So I thought at the time, which meant that I got to work with mom and pop shops, some Radio Shacks, things like that across Ohio and Indiana, and traveled around, got to train their teams, help them learn our products, help them learn how to ask the right questions to truly make that sale, and help them with marketing because they had no marketing budget whatsoever. Their marketing was either having a fly guy, which is like that inflatable thing that goes like this, standing outside their location, or putting a bunch of flyers underneath like windshield wipers at the mall, which neither one is a great idea or very effective. But social media was coming out around that time too. So I was helping them get set up on social to truly have conversations with people and help them shine the light on their business, because that was what they stood out for. People were going into their locations because they had that personal attention. So I loved it. I loved working with those people. Thought I had my forever job, but I ended up getting pregnant. I was super sick at the time, in the hospital for 8 out of the 9 months I was pregnant, food bag, whole nine. And unfortunately, the company that I'd worked hard for, and thought I had my forever job with, they had said that we can't hold your territory. I'm sorry. We need to hire someone else. We're going to let you go. And I was the breadwinner, the insurance carrier. I was devastated. And while in the hospital, even though I couldn't work, I was still thinking about, what can I do after this, right? Like, and now I have a family, even larger family to provide for. And I was still getting calls about social media. So I was like, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start, a company helping these brands on social. It comes naturally to me. I was then transitioned from psychology to marketing because the company would pay for it if it was aligned with what I was doing. And so I kind of fell in love with then internet marketing at the time, and started the agency in 2010 from there. And started out social. Then it went to, I realized that we couldn't just do social media without a website, and then we need a video. And so it's now evolved to a full service agency that we have in Lima.
I love that you said that, because so many times when you have an agency, you silo, and unfortunately that's what a lot of business owners do too. They go trying to search for somebody that has, okay, I need Facebook ads, so let me hire a Facebook ad agency, and all their marketing is siloed. So I love that you're doing everything, because that is, in my opinion, the smart way for any business owner, hint, 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 anybody listening out there, to do their marketing. Because again, if you have one person telling in your ear saying, let's do this, and then you have another agency over here saying, let's do that, and everything is just splintered, and then you end up getting a lot of low value results, in my opinion.
So true.
Okay, so let's talk about your client. So this client comes knocking on your door. Tell us a little bit about the client first. Like, what's the backstory on what kind of business did they have, that kind of thing?
Oh, you guys are going to love it. So I work with very non-traditional clients. So the ones that are harder to tell the story, and those are my favorite. So this one happens to be Mr. Manhole. And the name, just like it sounds, his business is all about helping other people that are doing road work, road construction, repair and replace manholes. He's not doing the work, but he has the tool, Mr. Manhole tool, that cuts out the manholes faster, more effective, safer, smarter, and then repairs them. It has the Mr. Manhole method that will repair them level longer, and they will last longer. So he came to my office, super brilliant man, came to my office and was telling me, like, hey, I have this great tool, like nobody else is doing this, and I need to get my story out, just like 99% of the clients come to our door and say. And more that I got to know him, I realized, like, he really truly got his business, but he really needed to get his business out there, and he wasn't sure how to do that, because it's not just in his local community, and he has one of those businesses that he is providing the tool to the person that's going to be doing the work, not necessarily the end user at the time. So what I mean by that is the people that would be hiring or need the work done, like municipalities, for example, they would be hiring contractors to replace manholes. And in order to get that bid, that contractor is going to apply for the bid and then do the work for that municipality or whoever is hiring that work out. So they don't necessarily need to go to Mr. Manhole to get jobs, right? But his goal was to help target municipalities to say, put this in your bid, because this is going to help make sure that your work is done smarter, faster. You're not paying as much, hopefully, and it's going to last longer. But also targeting the contractor, that road worker, to say, hey, you're going to have a level up edge if you purchase this tool. You're going to be able to do things a lot faster with your crew and safer for them.
So he was looking for a needle in a haystack. sort of.
Yeah.
In other words, because he's not going to the consumer. He was looking for, he was trying to get in front of people who were putting bids in on contract work so that they would say, hey, I need this tool or this resource or I'm going to hire this dude, or not hire him, but hire his resource or his tool. So I think this is fascinating because, it's a B2B, which a lot of people are like, well, Facebook ads don't work for B2B, right? So I love this. I'm so excited that we're having this conversation because it's such a powerful moment. I am just curious of the audience that's listening or watching, how many of you feel like, you're reluctant to spend ad dollars, or you feel like your person is a needle in the haystack? I'm just curious. Just feel free to drop that in because I'm super curious. Okay, so he comes to you, and your role in this at this point is I've got to get this guy out in front of those exact people. Okay, so what did that look like for you? What was the plan to try to target this very specific demographic?
Yeah, because this was honestly kind of an impossible task. What most people would consider, and these are the ones I love, because they're like, well, the person doesn't necessarily need the tool to get the job, and the municipality just wants the work done. So why would somebody care, right? And luckily, that's my acronym to how we do work is CARE. You have to out-care the competition. You have to get people to care about your business. So what we do and how we approach every client is we honestly get them to first look at, one, how are you going to capture attention? So first, that was our first objective with him. So we look at all the things that he currently has in place today. So I looked at his website. I looked at what's somebody going to find when they're searching online. So how are they finding contractors to do bids? How are they putting the bids out there? How are the contractors finding the bids? What are people looking for? What's going to be that's C, the capture attention. How is he going to be memorable? Because if he wants to capture attention, he has to stand out and get people to be like, oh, because nobody wants to just spend $25,000 on a tool to do a job that they could maybe do without it, right? What is going to make them care about it? So capturing attention, we looked at that. Then we looked at articulate his message. How is he going to make it crystal clear for people to see that this tool is the way to go? And then the R is the relationships for repeat and referral business. How can we get relationships so he is not spending a lot of money marketing himself out there? Because the goal, in my opinion, I think the sales funnel is dead. 100% dead, because the sales funnel says you have to get leads, dump them in, turn them marketing qualified leads, sales qualified leads, and then customers. But that's not the case, because people are sharing information online. They are our biggest referrers, of business. People are looking and asking questions in the inbox. So our goal is to get that momentum growth to then have his current customers, his current community, his current team members sharing the message for him and creating this flywheel. So it helps grow that momentum for him. And then the E in CARE is all about exceptional experiences. How can we make this so stupid simple that people are going to go through it, already have the idea of what the experience is going to be like? And experience is a verb. How are you going to make people feel? Already have the idea of what it would be like to work with him, and then be able to convert a lot easier with less friction. So we started with the inside out, because, most people may start with the ad, like, no problem, like, tell me about it. It's an awesome looking tool, let's just market it out. But I knew that would be very, very expensive, and it's not sustainable. So our goal is always to grow sustainable repeat referral business that is organic. Honestly, it's kind of funny. This is one of the first times I'm talking about ads on here. We don't normally do, we do ads for clients, but we also make sure before we do any ad that it's organically already producing results. Then you put money on it. That's where you're not going to spend a lot. So we had to build out that flow first. That started with, like I said, the inside out, get his messaging right, get his brand manifesto internally. Like, what is the tone right for this brand? Who is his ideal audience? And not just guessing like, oh, it's a contractor, it's a road worker. Okay, great. What do they care about? What's going to make them stop and say, I need this tool. I need to check it out. Because like I said, they could do the work without it if they wanted to. So instead of guessing, We stopped and we interviewed a few of those ideal audience people for him. We interviewed them, asked them, what are they searching online? What do they care about? What means the most to them? We found out like it was injuries that they were, paying for from their team. If their teams, the other way is using a jackhammer, and that causes a lot of injuries, that causes downtime, that causes long drawn out processes, so they can't do as many jobs, so it causes lack of revenue and being able to move on. We found out that it was dangerous, right? So we found out that it would be a more attractive place to work because they can sit inside a machine and use this tool. So we would have found out all those things unless we interviewed those people. So once we interviewed them, then we found out, here's our messaging, right? Here's going to speak exactly to articulating the message exactly to that audience, but also we found out what's going to speak to the municipality. So we started creating those wheres, if you will, like the website, to have pages that are going to land right for them, helpful content that we could start creating that is going to be attractive to people that are searching for things online. But then the relationship part came into play, where now the people that he already had in his business, let's get them together and get them activated, because I believe that, you should focus in on the people that you already have and build better relationships with them so they want to help refer you on. So what we did is create a community, a Facebook community, because we wanted to help them get more jobs. They are the hero. We are like helping them do more. So we created marketing resources for the contractors. We created trainings for the contractors so they could do more on social media. We created more resources for those contractors, social posts, things like that, so they could activate the message. They're already out there. They're already working with the municipalities. They've already worked with many of them. So now that they're activating the message, now it's going to be more eyeballs on them, more eyeballs on us, and their competition is going to be looking at them like, how'd they get into that? I want to get into that, right? So that started kicking off our organic results.
So this is so fascinating, but I'm curious because I know you're a small area. It's not a massive, city. When you say you started a Facebook community, do some of these people was there already a relationship for some of them? Did some of them know each other? They worked together in the past on specific jobs and things like that. To your point, they knew the municipalities that would ultimately hire them when they bid for jobs and stuff. So was there already some know-like kind of thing going on there, or was it starting from scratch?
Yeah, so not to give it away at the end, but the $100,000 came from China. So, but yes, there were a couple of them that did know each other, that he had already worked with them. So at the time, though, Mr. Manhole, the company, the organization, they would travel out because they have, like, not to push everybody to go to the website, but if you go to mrmanhole.com and you can go to installers, you can see the map. All the dots are where it's at, and zoom out to look at the world. But at the time, like, we started at that center, right? Because we wanted to get some social proof. So we started with the people he already knows, right? Start from the inside out. Who's your most trusted already kind of people? Next level, next level, next level. So yeah, a few of them already knew each other, but not all of them. So, because it took a minute, like, right? Like, these contractors, they're not by their phone all the time, right? They are in the trenches doing the work. And so it wasn't like they just wanted to pause and have a conversation. So we had to give them something worthwhile. So we did start with those close relationships first. And from there, though, we said we wanted to feature them. So the ones that were local, we started getting in interviews and highlighting their businesses. That's what we were sharing to, making them the hero. As well as then at that time, though, originally Mr. Manhole was traveling out to anyone that bought the tool. He was traveling literally to that location to train them on how to use it. We changed that up a little bit. We still wanted them to build relationships, but we changed it up just a little bit and provided videos on demand. And we did some 360 videos because we wanted it to be like if the person was there, right? Like, what would it look like? And what would the tool kind of seem like, right? Like, we wanted, you have to get people to imagine themselves already using that thing in order to get them to want to purchase it without overwhelming them with here's all the data, blah, 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 right? Like, let them experience it at their own pace. And that's what we did. So we're like, what would you like to do? It's kind of like choose your own adventure, right? Right. Like, so we did a lot of video because it's very visual. These people are very technical. We provided tech data sheets, and then we just gave them a location to get it and to do it at their own pace, and was patient when we did it.
So I love that. I love a couple of things. I keep hearing you hear the word. I keep hearing you say the word hero. So, are you a fan of Donald Miller's Storybrand formula?
I am.
Okay, good. Because me too, girl.
Yeah.
So we've been doing a lot of work with some of our clients and internally. So, just real quick, I'll give you a quick little stat, if you will, because I think it's so powerful in the context of this. When somebody wants something specific done, it's a comprehensive thing. Like if you hadn't have taken a look at their website and said, well, your message is off, so it's one problem, so let's fix that first. So lots of times we jump in because we want the result fast, and we don't look at our entire business. And so I'm just painting that picture real quick, because basically everything Jessica's already said is all about what happened prior to, all of the things they had to do to get ready to actually put a little bit of ad money on something that was already working. So we started with the Storybrand model on my sales pages first. And we went from, over industry standard. My sales were over industry, which is 1% to 2%. But on average, once we had done all of our Storybranded all of our sales pages, we went to about, on average, 43% sales conversions. It made a huge difference. So, y'all, messaging is important.
Yeah.
So before you spend any ad money, you better make sure you got some of your other stuff lined up and in place, and have it, you got to have your messaging nailed. So, all right. So we got to the place where you got your messaging nailed. You're doing some of the other, you're doing the relationship piece. You're getting the community activated behind, getting people sharing it out. Okay. So let's talk about when it came to things that were working, videos in particular. It sounds like video content was working for him, not just from an education perspective, but potentially attracting people to him. So talk a little bit about how the videos.
Yeah, and you hit on something super big. So I actually didn't know about Storybrand when we started this, but it made so much sense, right? And so we've tweaked it since, but at that time we just knew we had to make it about the contract, because they don't want to admit, nobody wants to admit that they made a bad decision or that they're doing something the wrong way, right? So if you approach it like that, hey, you should be using this tool, you're really doing things the wrong ancient way, no one's going to want to admit that, and they're going to want to come up with excuses of why that's wrong, right? So we knew that part. Now Storybrand completely exploded that, even more so with making it even more refined. So I highly do recommend Storybrand to anyone that has not heard of it before. But at that time, you hit on something very big, Kim, that you just said, is that everyone's engaging with it. You paid attention to your numbers, and that is what was key. So this was all done. It sounds like a lot of stuff, and it was, but it was all done within, under 6 months, I would say, time period. By the time the website was done, the social, all the things, and there was a lot to be done, right? Videos, photos, the whole thing. But when we started testing the social posts before we went to amplify, is that we wanted to see what was already working organically. That is the key. You want to see what's already working organically before you create the ad, because all that you can do to really make sure that you're not just relying on that ad is if you already have something that's already working and then you just amplify it some more. That's the kicker. So that's what we did. We started with the video. We knew that was really engaging. People were identifying with it. They could see the tool in action and then understand it, because it was, something a little bit more difficult to understand. And 25% text rule at the time with what Facebook ads were. So we knew if we created the demo that was showing this cool tool in action and people could really understand it for themselves, we put that out there. Then what was happening is, first we started targeting the contractors, what the contractors were reading, checking out, and listening to. And at that time, it was like Tech Insider. There was some of these other magazines. So we started actually targeting them first. And what was really, really cool is that ad, then those people ended up creating a viral video for Mr. Manhole. And this went to over 1 million people in 3 days. So again, I'm not pushing everybody to the website. But if you look at the website, you'll show it was like Tech Insider, Business Insider, not Mashable, but there's Cheddar, and a few others that shared this video then on their channels, and it went crazy. And after that, then these people, that was his direct audience, because we were constantly, paying attention to it. We wanted to see what was going on. We wanted to also get his community involved and said, hey, this video is doing well. Like, you can share and show how you are doing things differently and using this tool as well. And now it's validating them even more, because how many views and comments and people celebrating the tool that was happening on this. And it caught the attention of the community. Well, actually a couple places, Honolulu and then China. And then the individual from China came over and flew into Mr. Manhole's location. There's photos of their visit in his album on Facebook, and ended up spending over $100,000 on tools for the area, because there were so many manholes in their location with the population that they have, that they needed a lot. And now a relationship has formed, and it's only grown from there. Continued that into a case study and many other things as well.
That is just so phenomenal. So when you guys were doing the video, is that a 360 video? You talked about the 360. Okay, so it was a 360 video. And
not this one. This one was not. In the ad, it was not. No. So we did a couple different versions. We had an animated version. So it was somebody talking through kind of like why it works, and it was showing like the animation. Then we did it in action at different stages. And it was kind of cool. We actually used Wave. So we took one piece of content that we created, and we created multiple different pieces of it that we could use on the channels in different ways. And that's what really worked. Breaking it up into smaller segments instead of showing it for 10 minutes, right? Like show 1.5 minutes, show 3 minutes, and see what works.
Yeah. I love that. So just a quick, I'm going to break that down a little bit. So you had a longer video. It was like a demo, and then you just broke it into smaller chunks, because the reality is most people are not going to watch a video that's that long. So from a marketing perspective, those of you that are watching or listening, the shorter videos are going to probably outperform the longer ones. Okay, so when it came to you put them all out there, then you're like, okay, this is the one that seems to be getting the most traction. And then you're like, that's when you decided you put a little bit of money on it, right? And that's when the China got involved, or the client from China, and then one from Honolulu. And there was a couple stunning keys to that. Stunning story.
Oh, sorry. There was a couple keys to that too. It was that it wasn't just the video, there was the messaging that went with the video too, right? So there was the call to action, because one thing for people to watch it and engage with it, but what do we want them to do afterward, right? So we definitely wanted to have a landing page that told them exactly what to do afterward. And then anyone and everyone in the comments, and there was a lot of comments at that time, because like I said, Cheddar, Mashable, Tech Insider, all of them picked it up. And so we wanted to make sure to go and respond, not even just on our channel, but also on their channel. So their channels, as people are commenting, like asking questions, we were there. We were messaging, right? We were on it, because that was key. Because so many people were like, well, can that be real? Is it take this, is it OSHA, blah, 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 and you wanted to be there like with those answers. And that was key too, because so many people, they're watching it, they're interested, but they're going to lose interest very, very fast if you're not responding very fast. Our attention span is, that of a goldfish, I think. So we may be really interested in a minute, but if we don't have that next step to kind of move us along, or if somebody's not responding and we've put out a question, the next day we've moved on to something else. So we wanted to make sure we were staying engaged and really, truly having a conversation and open dialogue with everyone that was commenting and interested.
Did you also, like, from an audience perspective, did you retarget all the
Mhm.
viewers from all the other videos as well? Just so you, all right,
Yep.
excellent. All right.
Yeah.
What, I'm just curious, what the whole, everybody picking it up and it being, Cheddar and Mashable and some of the others. Did you have a plan on that? I mean, did you do any outreach or was it all viral? Did somebody just see it and then somebody else picked it up and then it was all viral?
Yeah.
That's
We
awesome.
targeted people. It was a
That is
marketer's
so.
dream. I'm not going to say that I would love to just be like, here's the formula. It was a marketer's dream. Now, we did things like, we did target. We were trying to get that, right? But I don't want to say like try to go viral, because that's like, I know any marketer on here cringes when a client says that. I know, I feel your pain, and that was not necessarily the intent of going viral. We wanted to show up where our community, where our target audience, our ideal audience was hanging out. We want to go and engage there before we're expecting them to engage with us. So that was the key. That's how it all happened first, is have our stuff together, right? Like have it all planned out, but not just wait for people to come to us. We were creating helpful content, and that was the other part, right? So once they come to us, make sure that there's content to keep them engaged for a while. So we already had blogs, we already had helpful resources, we already had the email campaign, the drip campaign. So people, once they got there and they engaged with us, we gave them a reason that they would want to come back. I like call it the craveability factor, keep them wanting more. And so we had those things in place, but we weren't waiting just for them to come to us. We were going and engaging on those channels, those Facebook groups that they were hanging out in, the news where they were getting their news. And all of those things combined allowed us to have a ridiculously small ad budget with a ridiculously amazing return, because all those things were in place. Now it's grown from there. That was just one sale, but there were, others down the line that came as a result. But the whole key was growing that momentum to keep it sustainable. So you don't have to just keep paying to play. That's the key.
I love that. And, I'm just curious, when you first, you did all the groundwork, which is super important. And then you decided you were going to spend a little bit of money on a proven asset that was already working well organically. I'm just curious, did you have a goal going into it? Like, did you say, hey, this is the end goal we want? And what was that? What did that look like? Was it engagement? Was it sales? I want to dig into your call to action a little bit more. Where were you sending people?
Yeah, our end goal was starting to grow his email list. Now we did want to convert. So like we didn't think it was going to happen off that first ad. So our first ad was, all ads should have kind of 3 stages to it: awareness, consideration, conversion, right? It was the awareness ad was showing the tool up, showing what it can do, right? Like, what is this? We wanted to pique people's curiosity. And then ultimately, we want to start building the email list so we can get people involved in knowing, like, hey, here's, the silica new OSHA regulations. Here's how this tool helps you with that. Here's how much time you can save. Here's how much faster you can do it. Here's a calculator so you can see, how many more manholes that you can create, or not create, but repair in a certain amount of time. We were trying to eventually move them through the buyer's journey. And the first call to action, though, was really about awareness. And that's really what you have to consider too when you're creating the ad is, okay, we have our flow in place, right? Like our journey of where we want people to go. But Kim asked a great question, like, what is your ultimate goal? So, was it a win or not? Because engagement and awareness and likes and all that thing feels good, but what does it really do at the end of the day, right? So it was to grow the email list, was the first goal for that awareness ad. And then from there, our goal was to sell ultimately from our campaign overall 3 units, but that was not within that $100. The first $100 was just literally for awareness, and we were going to build more. And it just happened to be, because these things were in place, that it worked a lot smoother, and it's continued to work that way too. So this wasn't, even though it was amazing that we got that awareness from all of these big news outlets, that was the only thing that was unique that I'm not necessarily thinking that everyone can do every time. But the thing that has been consistent is our ad dollars have been a lot smaller than industry standard, a lot smaller than anyone else has been within that space in that industry, because we've had the organic in place, because we've had those activators that are already part of this, because we've already had the engagement on those pages that now it shows up organically in search results, right? And because we know specifically who our audience is, and we're able to remarket to them at the stage that they're ready to receive the information.
Well, I would even say too, the other thing that I caught about the story is you were prepared for your traffic. You were prepared for the lead to come through the door. You already had a nurture sequence set up. You were loving them up along the way until they got to a place where they were ready to make a buying decision. So I think lots of times we forget that part, and we spend money, and then we don't have anything in place to really move people along the buying journey. And that is so important. Groundwork is so important. Like you said, now all that stuff is in place, and you don't have to, it just keeps working for you. Even that's one of the reasons your organic traffic is working so well for you too, is because your messaging is solid, and you have things in place that will help people along the journey. You've got value-based content. I'm assuming you're probably creating more all the time, and that just makes sense, and people respond to stuff that makes their lives easier, and makes the buying process easier. So I love that. So for people, and I love that you said that these results may not be normal for everyone.
Yeah.
You did have some unexpectednesses that came through this experience, but the reality is this could happen to anyone. Will it happen to anyone? Probably not, but it could happen to anyone. If you have something, you have a great product or a great service, and you create some great content that it's that awareness phase out the gate, it's just going to work so much better for you. So I'm curious, like, if for somebody who's wants to go down this road, and we broke it all out now, but I know we got business owners in the audience right now that are watching or listening. And what would you say to them as a place to get started? Like, where do they need to circle their wagon, or what do they need to do to get moving before they spend their first ad?
Yeah, and I think this answer sometimes annoys people, but at the same time, this is what's going to work. And I like to say, start from the inside out. You have to out-carry your competition. That's what you have to focus on, out-carrying the competition. So, I mean, I do have a guide on that, what that looks like for free. I'm not trying to sell anyone anything, at learnrelationshipmarketing.com. And what that looks like is starting from, do we have our messaging right? Like, do we have our process right? I love how Kim said it. Are we prepared for the traffic that's coming in? Do we have those relationships in place? Do we know who those people are, and how do they know how they can activate the message? And how are we going to provide an exceptional experience worthy of talking about, so we can get others talking about it and grow the momentum of our flywheel? The best place to start is looking and thinking like your customer and saying, what would I be searching for? What am I struggling with? What's my goal? Kind of like, how am I comparing one product over another, one service over another, one person over another? What does that look like? What do we really stand out for as that organization? Because I promise you, it doesn't matter what you do. It's not unique. Unfortunately, what we do is not unique, but how we do it is. Right? Like, every business that's out there, we're amongst like a sea of samesies out there, but how we do it, nobody can replicate. So the more that we can show up to outcarry our competition and do it in a way that's our own flavor and style, the more that we're going to grow that organic. And then we can put some creative ad dollar behind it that is going to help maximize what's already working organically. That's the key, working organically first.
Such wicked smart advice. I'm in total alignment with every word. I agree. I think lots of times we think that we can spend a little bit of money and it's going to be the answer to all of our sales problems, when if we don't have the foundation in place, it can really not be as beneficial as it could be if you had everything in place. And that's sometimes hard for us to slow down to make sure all that happens, but it's so important. So what do you think from a organic? I know you've talked a little bit about organic, but what if somebody doesn't already have a community? They don't have any organic places to plug into. What would you recommend for a business like that? That's just, let's assume they've got marketing, their messaging straight, and like, okay, where do I start? Do I start with social media, or do I spend a little money? What
Yeah, I always look at so if you have your messaging right, you already have your brand persona right, you already have, or your brand manifesto, excuse me, right, and you feel solid on that. Really, then your next step is to find out others that already have that kind of trusted built-in community that you can align with. So I like to say, your social, if you already have your web and all that, good. Your social should be focused on like turning your followers into true fans, your clients into your biggest advocates, your community into collaborators, and your team members into evangelists. So I would start looking at first, if you don't have any followers, you don't have any clients yet, I would start looking at who could you align with to help serve more. Maybe somebody that already has that trusted built-in community, and you don't want to spam them and ask for an ask right away. But I always recommend, so like one of the things I did, for example, just tell you what I did for me, because I've never had a sales rep at all, still don't. And I've only spent literally under $200 in 11 years on ads for our organization. But what I started with first, before the beautiful day of live video, was doing free trainings in my community on how people could do social media. Exactly what I was doing. I still give away exactly how I do what I do, because I knew people aren't hiring me for that. It's not that they can't Google it, watch a YouTube video, or find somebody else to do those things. But they were hiring me because they trusted me now in order to see it through for them, because they didn't want to do it, right? And they didn't want to stay up on it. And that's been the key, is just that. So I showed up, and I continue to show up to serve. Now, instead of just having it in person, now I get to do it online. Beautiful thing of live video. But I wouldn't sell or pitch it. I would just show up, serve, and I would get a couple of customers and clients. And then those serve them really well, they would then refer me on. And instead of focusing on going wide and just blasting my message out, because it was a lot to get started in a small town like Lima, Ohio, that's known for cornfields and trains. Instead of just trying to focus on everyone, I just focused on the people that were in front of me. My goal was to go deep, not wide. Deep as in get the roots, have it stick, have those people want to stay with me longer, and give them something worthy of talking about. Because that then, now I'm growing my advocates to refer me on, and then finding others that already have this trusted built-in community that I can help them in some way. I'm on with Kim right now, right? Like, I'm being introduced to you all, which is amazing. And we are super aligned with how to care for others, and our messages align, right? And so I find those community members that I want to support and I want to serve, because they're like me. Now we can join forces and truly outcare, because we're adding even more value to those that we care about. And by doing so, then those people are going to, remember it and want to engage then for the long term. So I always recommend kind of starting there. Granted, I'm not saying ads are bad, but I try not to make it the clutch or the thing that you have to rely on, because you're just going to have to keep spending more and more and more. It should be an amplification of something that's already working, in my opinion, anyway.
One thing I would bet that happens as a result for you and your business, because you had this success. I bet you the owner of the client that you've done all this amazing work for, he's referred people your way. Don't you imagine? I'm assuming that's true.
Yeah.
And that goes back to, if you really take care of your existing clients, they're going to refer you on. They're going to take care of you because you're taking care of them. We're always after the next customer, versus really going deep with the ones we have. I love that you said that. My first business was web design, and I didn't even have my own website. Never needed it. All my business came to me word of mouth. So I totally understand the value of, really just over delivering,
And that's
loving
going to
up
work
the
better
customer
than
that
any
you
ad that's
have.
out there.
It's so powerful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So while we're choosing our winners, so I always ask or try to remember to ask this question. What is a question that I didn't ask but should have? It sometimes stumps my guests, but what should I have asked that I didn't?
Should have.
What did not talk about?
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah, I haven't been asked that before. Should
I know it's
I?
like,
I know.
sometimes it's a stump.
Was there anything that I would have done differently now that I've done it? I would say
that's a great question.
I would say done differently. I would say one of the things I would I had the video that others wanted to share. They asked that I give them the raw footage for that video, and so they could share it on their channels, like Cheddar, Mashable, Tech Insider. They wanted the video themselves so they could share it natively on their channels, and I would not have done that again. I would have them share straight through because you don't get alerts, and now Facebook has in place where they want original footage that's being shared. So I would have done that differently.
Good answer, a good question and a good answer. But those are things, that's a good lesson learned though, for if this ever happens to you and somebody reaches out like Cheddar and says, hey, I want to share it, but I don't want to share it from your post. I want the original content. And, because you don't get any value from that, well, you do because they're sharing it.
Yeah,
but you don't get any from the original post, I guess. So yeah, the long term is what you're after. So, okay, awesome. So let's see who won the goodies today. So Tim won the Screenshots Are Forever mug. So Tim, if you'll go to kimgarst.com/winner, give us all your deets and we will hook you up. And then the second winner tip for today is Krista Bromley, won the 3-month access to the Business Builders Academy. Same, Krista, if you'll go to kimgarst.com/winner, give us your details and we'll get you a login and you will be in business. All right. Well, I tried to pay attention to questions and stuff as we went. I didn't see any, but that we didn't cover down on. So hopefully we got everybody's knowledge or their curiosity tweaked on how you did this. I was so curious about it myself. So thank you for sharing the story and being with us. And I would like to say to all those that are watching either now or on the replay, thanks for spending time with us. We know that your time is valuable and we always appreciate when you give us some of it. So hope you got some value today. Take care of yourselves, stay safe, and God bless.